Welcome to Seeing with Your Soul, a safe and sacred place to be vulnerable, to be transparent, to be authentic. I am your host, Tisha Michelle. From the deep pain and loss of my best friend Gloria, I realized she gave me the greatest gift ever, remembering my purpose in life, which is to help connect you to your authentic self, guide you to remember your purpose, and remind you that your current circumstance doesn't define who you are. Join me as we heal, align, and glow together. Hey, welcome back to Seeing with Your Soul. I'm your host, Tisha Michelle. So today's episode, I have 3 messages that I want to share with you guys. At first, as these things were coming up, I was like, oh my gosh, this is totally a podcast. I could do a podcast about this. I could do a podcast about it. And I was like, you know what? I don't even want to wait. So let's just put it all in one podcast. So the first message is everything is figure-outable. So if you, I got this from Marie Forleo. So she's like a life coach. She's like amazing. Been following her for a really long time. Anyhow, I was listening to a podcast and it was Oprah's Super Souls Conversation. And it was an episode that had Marie Forleo on there. And she was talking about how this lesson that she learned and it's been with her since childhood, and it was actually taught to her by her mom, and is that everything is figure-outable. So she was explaining this story of something that happened with her and her husband and like their marriage and them going on a trip and all that stuff. I don't even really want to get into that because I want you guys to go and listen to it. So it was Oprah Super Souls Conversation, and it was with Marie Forleo. Anyhow, so I went to go I left out of the house and I only had $60 with me in cash, and I didn't take my debit card. I didn't take anything. I just had the cash that was in my pocket, but I was just running somewhere really quick, right? I don't even think I had my ID. Anyhow, so I get ready to go to this place, but then I changed my mind. And I said, you know what? I'm just going to go eat. And this is why I was spending this time by myself. And I was like, I'm going to go eat. So I went out to eat and I had $60 and I paid for the food. And then I ended up having $36 exactly left, right? So I wanted to go and get this new Oracle card deck. So I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to treat myself and I'm going to go. So Barnes & Noble is open. And I head to Barnes & Noble, and it's probably about 15, 20 minutes from where I was eating at. And I get there. The lady can't find it. And she's like, well, let me check in the back. And I'm like, yeah, please do. So she gets it, right? And I'm super excited because I was listening to another podcast and it's a deck that she created. And I was like, you know what? I really want to get that because I can really use, if you know me, like, you know, I love Oracle cards. I'm just super like addicted to them. And I hadn't bought any in a really long time. So I was like, you know what? I really want to get this. It's different, blah, 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 whatever. So I go. So she gives it to me and it says it's $35. Now I want you guys to remember, I only have $36, but I also left out of the house with no ID, no debit card, just the cash, the $60, and I went to eat. So now, you know, I'm at Barnes & Noble. So I go to ring it up, and the guy says that it's $37.84. I have $36. Okay. So I was like, now I don't have no more money. I have no debit card and nothing. So I was like, all right, I'll be back. Let me go check the car. Now I know darn well I don't have $1.84 in the car, right? So I go and I'm looking through, and there's a whole bunch of like pennies or something. I'm looking like in the seat, and I'm like, damn, I don't have this. I don't have $1.84. What am I supposed to do? So I sit in the car and I hear Marie Forleo's voice saying everything is figure-outable. So I just started smiling. And I said it out loud, and I was like, everything is figure-outable. And I just took a deep breath, and I was like, all right. So I came down here purposely for that deck. I don't have enough. One, I don't want to go back home without it because I'm just going to be tight. I'm going to be irritated. I'm like, so I guess I could just go inside there and just buy something else. But then I was like, no, I don't want to settle. I came down here to get this. And there's really no reason for me not to get it, because sometimes, you know, things will force things, but it's really, you know, we're not able to get it or do it because we're being like protected from something else. But honestly, I didn't feel like that. Like, I wanted to get this deck, and it was a certain reason why, what I wanted to use it for, more of connecting connecting, with myself and going deeper. So I'm just like, everything is figure outable. Everything is figure outable. And I'm just taking my deep breath because I'm like, all right, what's your next move? And it pops in my head. Get online. So I go online and I go to barnesandnoble.com and I pull up the store that I'm at and it says you can purchase it. So online, remember, all I have is the $36. I don't have no debit card or anything, but I knew that there would be an option to purchase it with PayPal. And remember, PayPal, your debit card is connected to PayPal. So I was like, I know PayPal has to be a checkout option, and PayPal was. So I go on there and I, log into the PayPal and I purchase it so I can pick it up at the location, right? Not getting it shipped. I'm already here. And then because I purchased it online, I ended up saving some money. I don't remember exactly how much it was, but it was a couple dollars. I got it even cheaper. So then I go inside there. And the guy was like, oh, did you get the change? I was like, no, I didn't have enough change. I was like, but what I did do, I explained what happened. So he pulls it up. He was like, oh, well, that worked out. And I was like, yeah, because everything is figure outable. And he was like, that it is. So I take the thing and I go back and I get in the car and I just sit there for like a good 5 minutes, just smiling and cheesing. And I was honestly more happy. Does that make more happy? Whatever. I was happier of the fact that I figured it out than just getting the card. And it just really, really, truly made me think that everything is figure outable. We just need to create the space for it, right? So I could have just reacted by just getting frustrated and saying whatever, and then just driving back home and just been upset and tight because I wasted my time. Or I could have just went and bought something else, but then I would have just been settling. And that's not what I wanted. I wanted that. And I was able to figure it out because I created the space by sitting in the car, taking my deep breaths, and just creating that space and saying everything is figure outable. So when we take time and we step back and we're taking our deep breaths, or we're just stepping back from any situation that we're in, and we create this space, and when we create that space, we allow solutions to drop in. But when you're so caught up in everything that is going on and so super frustrated and mad and like, woe is me and everything, like there's no space because it's all filled with all like the negative thoughts and the woe is me and all of that stuff. So there's just no space for anything to come in. So this first message is everything is figure outable. All you need to do is just breathe and create the space and allow those solutions to drop in. And you'll be so amazed. Okay? So remember, everything is figure outable. So the second message I have for you guys is you just never know a person's story, and we should really have more conversations with people. So, of course, I have a story for this. So I'm in, Scottsdale, Arizona, and I live in a condo, right? So it's a whole bunch of condos in here. So, you start to see the people who are like regular that's here. And then some of the owners Airbnb their condos out. So you have like the people who are coming as an Airbnb, and then you have the people who actually live here. So, there's, like a handful of people, and I see them every day and pass in the hall. And then there's this one particular lady. So we haven't really talked, but we like pass, and she'll just say like, oh, like, hey, how's your son? Or whatever the case is. And then she gave me a guitar to give to my youngest son, a really, really nice guitar. So I was like, that was super nice and all. But we've never really had a full conversation. So the other day, everything's the other day for me, I was in one of the condos that belongs to, it's with one of the owners. And then there was another person in there, and we're just in there just talking. And then that lady, she comes in there. So it's like four of us in there, and it's just different random conversations. And somehow it comes up about politics. And you know how that goes with some conversations. So we're talking about politics. But then I'm having a sideway conversation with another person. And then that lady, she ends up saying something like, yeah, it's like, people think it's like a conspiracy. And she starts talking about the universe, and she starts talking about galaxies and star seeds. And I'm like, wait, what? Wait a minute. This somebody talking my language. Hold up. So, I stepped into like the other room, and I was like, what were you talking about? So then she starts talking and she's saying this to him who owns the condo. And he was like, yeah, you lost me. You're way over my head. Like with that, he was like, I don't know. I don't believe in like aliens. And, he just started like being funny. So she started talking about all this stuff. And I jumped in and I just started, doing me. Right. Because now I'm talking to someone. We talking the same language. So we just started talking. She's like, oh, my God. She was like, oh, my God. She's like, I didn't know that you were like into like that. And I was like, oh, yeah, for sure. So then I just started talking even more about like with the universe and like energy and spirit guides and all of that stuff. So this is like, wow. So I'm like, oh, I could have been talking to you, but we never really just had a conversation like that because she didn't really, I guess it was one of those things in my head was like, she doesn't really seem like my type, whatever that really means. So anyway, so we start talking. So she's like, oh, are you on Facebook? She's like, I'm always posting this stuff. So we connect on Facebook. And then she came and this is like now like the other two have like their own thing going on. But she's like, so when did your awakening happen? When did it start for you? And I was like, 2017. And I explained about like losing my, my best friend Gloria and how like with all that grief and that pain that I needed answers and I was forced to go within. And then when I went within, I was able to then, start to see the world for what it really is. And I told her I've been on this self-discovery journey ever since and, and just went through the story. And she said, isn't it crazy how when we go through so much pain and so much grief that there's such a beauty and a blessing and so much in that? And I was like, exactly. So then, of course, I said, so what about you? And she said, well, it was the same for me. She said in 2017, she said she was diagnosed with cancer. And she went to the doctor and the doctor was like, yeah, you have cancer. I don't remember what stage she said it was in, but the doctor was like, okay, so you need to do chemo. So she said, well, I don't want to do chemo. So how long would I have to live? And she said 2 years. So as the time when I had the conversation with her, it had been a little over 2.5 years. So she said, you have 2 years, 2.5 years from when the doctor told her that. So she was like, well, yeah, I'm not going to do any chemo. I'm not going to do any of that. I'm just going to research some other options and just eat right. And she said the doctor told her, she's like, you're not going to live. She's like, that's not going to work. This is what her doctor told her. It's not going to work. You need to do this chemo. She's like, no, I'm not going to do that. So then she said she just started doing like all this research. And because she was doing all this research, she said things just started to shift into her. And then she started to eat right. And she was just eating right. And then she's like, and then I started doing this thing, meditating. Like she didn't know what meditation was like before and stuff. So she started doing that. And she was like, it was just amazing where she's seen stories and she just started like working on herself and understanding that we can heal ourselves. So then I said to her, I said, yeah, that's how we were designed. We were designed to heal ourselves. And I was like, everything on the outside is a manifestation of things going internally. And she said, yes. She said that this is going through this process with the cancer and going into healing herself is when she learned that it was about the emotions. And one of the biggest things that she has is forgiveness, and that she's having a hard time with that. And I just thought that it was just so interesting that I've been seeing her and like we speak, but we never really had like a conversation. But how, all in this one condo randomly, but not randomly, we start talking about politics, and then it ends up being like, oh wow, we speak the same language. But then to like hear her story of how she chose to take her own life in her hands and not by listening to just this doctor who just says, oh, this is your only option. You need to do chemo. And she's like, I don't want to do that. She's like, no, I'm going to heal myself. I'm going to eat better and to do all those things, even though the doctor was just like, no, it's not going to work or whatever. And I just thought that was just a brave and it's amazing. And here it is. They told her 2 years and she's already like 2.5 years strong. So whatever. But, so the message for that is just like, you never really know like a person's story. And you never know how you can really connect with a person if you don't have conversations with people. Like, you just don't have conversations with people. And I think it's so important to start to talk to people that don't look like you, that don't, necessarily maybe act like you, or you know, like how I said, like, I was like, I don't know, she's not really like my type, whatever that means. But that it's so important to have conversations with people, get to know other people. Like, you just really never know what that can do for you, and just to open up. And then, like, for us, it's like we live in the same area. So it is nice to have conversations, with people that you can't necessarily have with the people that you're like surrounded around, because they don't get you, or they don't understand it, or it's not their thing. And that's okay, because we're all in this journey, and we're just at different, I guess, times and processes and stuff there. So again, the message is, you never know a person's story until you just start talking to them. So let's get out more or in more, whatever the case is, and let's just talk to people. Like, what's their story? What's behind it? And you can see how that can help you, how that it can inspire you, or give you another person to talk to, or how you can help and how you can guide and inspire like them. So that's the message them too. So the third message, this was kind of interesting. Probably I want to say like the last 2 weeks, I've had like this influx of like clients, and there's been a theme. And the theme is that my clients are saying they're afraid that they're going to go down the wrong path. Now, they don't mean the wrong path necessarily as like, oh, I'm going to do something illegal and it's going to get me in trouble. They're just like, I know I don't want to be doing this, but I'm really not sure what I should be doing. And I don't want to end up doing A or B or C, because what if it's the wrong path? So I just was really thinking like, wow, this is a big theme. So anytime that there's like a theme with like my clients, the very first thing I do is I check myself, and I look within myself to say, okay, is this a reflection of something that I'm going through? And if so, then I really need to pay attention to the messages that Spirit is giving me to give my clients, because they're also for me. So, I'm just kind of there saying, no, I don't really think necessarily that's for me. It's just a thing that a lot of people are going through right now, and it's really to get the message out to them. So I want to share with you what I tell them. You'll never go down the wrong path. Like, all paths will lead to your destination of what it is that you came here to do. It's just that every path has different lessons along the way. So you can go down path A, B, or C, and they're all going to lead you to where it is that what it is that you were meant to do. So you can't mess anything up. And, so I'm sure a lot of you have heard stories where people will say, like, I hit rock bottom. I was addicted to drugs or alcohol and I lost everything. Or I lost everything and I was homeless. Or I went through, I couldn't keep a job and I went through all these different jobs and I did all these different businesses. But they always say, but now I'm here sharing my story with you. Now I've helped thousands of people be able to overcome, blase, blah, blase, blah. You see, that was their destination. Their destination was to be here in a teacher role, in a healer role, sharing their experience, sharing their story, sharing what it was that they had to overcome, and letting people know that your current circumstance does not define who you are. So yeah, they may have been homeless, they may have hit, rock bottom, or they may have just, woke up one day and was just like, screw it. I think I'm going to start this business, and I'm going to just, go live in a van and just travel the world and just experience whatever it is, that path that they chose, or those paths. They all had different lessons along the way, but it still allowed them to get to that destination of what it is that they came here to do, right? So my message in there that I share with them, which is a 2-part, I'm going to share with you, is that you'll never go down the wrong path. Just know that the paths that you go down have their own lessons. But in order for you to get to this destination, which is operating from like your purpose, what you came here for, you have to do something. Like, you have to just, I don't like to say you have to, because that's a belief, but you know what I mean. You got to do something. You got to put some movement. You got to put some action. You got to just go down path A and trust that you will be guided along the way. And then the second part of that is, I will tell everyone, like, you are a powerful being. Like, we're all powerful beings. but you're not powerful enough to fuck anything up. You're just not. Sorry. So you're not going to mess anything up. You're not going to mess it. I hear people say, well, what if I mess it up? What if I mess it up on purpose? You're not going to mess anything up. You're not even doing anything. So you're not messing anything up. But if you go down path A and B and C and D or whatever, like the case is, you're not powerful enough to mess it up. And when I say mess it up, meaning like your purpose, what you came here to do, what you came here to contribute to the world or contribute to your family or contribute to yourself, whatever it is, you're not powerful enough to mess it up. So I say, go down the path, head, do something, and trust that you will be guided and directed wherever it is that you need to go. So yeah, those are my 3 messages I got for you guys. But, because anytime you say but, that's like canceling out what you said before. And I'm definitely not canceling out those 3 messages for you guys. But I did wanted to share with you that I've been in the process of creating the BU Academy, which is a membership site, right? So this was downloaded and given to me a little bit over a year ago. But the seeds of it was planted before, even before my best friend Gloria passed away. I didn't know it. It was just little things. But now when I look back, I'm like, oh my God, I was already using that. Oh my God, I was saying that. Oh my gosh, right? So again, go down different paths, right? So anyhow, I know that I was to create the BU Academy, because it's all about being you, being your authentic self. And what does that even look like? Removing these layers and going through these different processes, right? So it's like the BU Academy. So, okay, then I'm like, heal, align, and glow. That's the process. That's what I want to take you through. Healing and being in alignment and just the ultimate just glow, like living like your life, like being like the core of who you are, that essence of like just you, right? And I was like, but I can't teach everyone. I can't be everywhere. I can't do a whole bunch of one-on-ones every single day. When I say that I can't, it's too draining. And I'm an empath, so I'm super sensitive to energy. And when I'm conducting an hour session with someone, I am tapped into their energy field. I am tapped into. They're going having anxiety. I'm having anxiety. They're stressed out. I'm stressed out. They're super, super happy. I'm super, super happy because I'm all up in their business. I'm all up in their energetic field. And it is very draining. And a lot of like clients, have experienced like a lot of childhood trauma. So I'm tapped into that and I'm working with them through that. So it's very, very, very draining. So there's no way that I can, how many people can I realistically see? I mean, there was one time I had 6 appointments in one day and I was like, oh, hell no, right? Because I was so drained that I didn't have anything for my children on like myself. Because when I'm having a session with someone, I'm pouring everything into them, right? So I was like, I can't do, not even that I don't want to do a whole bunch of one-on-ones with people, but I want to serve everyone. And I'm like, how do I do that? I'm like, okay, that's cool. I could go around and I can go and speak and do things. And I have like my retreats but I like the small so I can be able to give people that attention. So it was like, what was downloaded was that to create this community, to create the BU Academy and have these different topics and stuff, whether it's relationships, trauma, grief, spirituality, entrepreneurship, just these different topics, but creating this community of people that are all over the world. So it allows me to be able to reach a lot of people and share my message and help people through what it is that they're going through at an affordable rate for people who can't travel to a retreat, who can't do a one-on-one with me, or who can't do a VIP day or a one-on-one phone, but to be at an affordable rate. But also along the way, I've been meeting like these amazing people who have these dope ass like gifts and skills, and we're all in alignment with each other. And I've been meeting a lot of people, and even just like my clients, I'm like, man, these are some amazing people, but there's certain people who just stand out. And I'm just like, yo, we're going to do something together. I don't know what it is, but we're going to do something together. And I've been thinking, like, even though this was given to me a year ago, it wasn't meant for me to put it then. Because I would say stuff like, okay, I've been bullshitting, it's time for me to do this. But it wasn't. I had to meet some people along the way because they're going to be a part of it. So I'm not going to be the only one in this community that's sharing their gifts and teaching and helping people through this process. I have some amazing people that's going to be doing this with me. So anyhow, so it's going to be in this app that's going to be on your phone. So you don't have to go on the computer, but it'll be right on your phone. But it's a community just for us. So I like to say it like this, like, you know, you're going through something, right? You know, something's going on in your personal life and you post it on Facebook. I'm like, half people don't see it. The other half don't care. Let's just be real. Let's just be real. But, you know, and you feel super alone. You may have like 5,000 Facebook friends or whatever your social media, but you just still feel alone or whatever the case is. And a lot of people can express themselves a lot more like in like the text and behind and stuff. And I'll say, okay, so how can I adapt to all of this? You know, all of this. So here's this, you know, this app that'll be on the phone, the BU Academy, and you'll be, it's a subscription. So you'll be a member of it, and you'll have tons of topics that you can post in and see what other people posted. You can share your experience, you know, what you went through. So if someone's posting about, you know, I'm having a really hard, you know, a really rough day and, you know, blah is going on and stuff. Someone else may be able to tap in and just say, hey, I know exactly how you feel. I'm feeling the same way now, too. And what I've noticed that helped me get through this was ... That's great, right? So not only will we have like the topics, but we'll also have groups. So maybe not, you know, like one of the groups is my book club. So I'll have a book club, but maybe not everybody that's a part of this community wants to be a part of the book club. They're like, I don't read, I don't care. I'll just do podcasts. Cool. But the ones who do, like every month, and this will start in March, every month there will be a book that will be for that book club. And then, you know, the month we'll connect on Zoom and just, you know, like talk about it, chat about it, you know, whatever the case is. But then there's also a grief support group for people who have, you know, lost someone and they just want to have that like there. So there's that. But then we're also going to have courses on there. So courses from myself, courses from, you know, some of the amazing hosts that's going to be a part on there where you'll be able to go through that course and stuff. And this is all, you know, you're only paying your one monthly fee unless you pay for it for the year, but there's no additional cost for these courses and stuff. So again, this allows all of us to be able to serve a lot of people because that's what it's about, is sharing our message, right? And helping to raise, you know, conscious awareness of the collective, right? So you have this one fee that you're paying, but you have access to all these amazing people. But and being able to be helped and guided in the different areas of your life and of your journey. But also it's the community part. This is the community part, because what I want to happen is for people to take these things outside of the virtual world. So if you have like people that are in, you know, in Richmond, you can say, hey, who's in Richmond, Virginia? I would love to like grab a coffee, or maybe we can just create like a circle or a group or whatever and just meet outside. You know, that's great. Or maybe you're traveling to LA and then you can post in a group and just say, hey guys, you know, I'm going to be in LA for the next 4 days. I would love to connect with like, you know, like one of you guys who's in LA, whatever the case is. You may meet your next business partner. You may meet your next best friend. You may meet your husband, your wife, your soulmate, your twin flame, whatever the case is it's going to be like this nice community. Anyhow, so I'm going to do the pre-launch with some founding members on February 15th. And as a founding member, you get a lower rate for the year, but you also will play a huge part in feedback and suggestions and like kind of like, you know, working those things out and just say like, I would love for like this, or maybe like this. I think this would be like great. All of that good stuff as like a founding member, and you get to be in there before the public. So February 15th. So I just wanted to I will definitely have more information about that, but you can also just shoot me an email at Tisha@certified.com if you're interested in more information on being a founding member. Just send me an email and I will get you some information. And then I'm going to have the first round to the public out sometime in March. I'm thinking March 1st, but I'm not really quite sure right now. I got to work on some other things and make sure I have some other stuff that's all like loaded in there, but I'm looking around March 1st. But I will definitely have more information about all of that good stuff. But I just wanted to share that with you. So it's the BU Academy, Heal, Align, and Glow, and it's a membership community, and this app will be right on your phone. Go everywhere that you go, so you don't have to just get on the computer. And if you're just having, maybe you want to learn about chakras, maybe you want to, learn about grounding and what's the best way to ground, or maybe you want to learn about food or yoga. We have someone that's for fitness that's going to be one of the hosts, but it's the mind, body, and soul. So it's not just about, go do some crunches, go do run, but it's connecting everything, because all of this is connected. So I like that aspect. We have someone who is in the mental health of the field, but also very intuitive and do like tarot. So she's bringing her expertise on both, because mental health is a huge thing right now. It's a huge thing. And I like to say we all have mental health issues. We all need people to talk to. We all need to be able to, really express ourselves. And this community is going to be a safe, sacred space for everyone to do that. And comes from a place of non-judgment and compassion and love. Because remember, we came here to evolve and grow and operate from love and not fear. So the BU Academy membership community, shoot me an email, Tisha@#certified.com, and I can give you more information on that. But other than that, you're going to probably you're going to hear me talk about it on like every episode. I will be putting out that information and making sure going forward that the information will be in the show notes. So yeah, guys, so that's what I have for you. I had those 3 messages, and then talking about the BU Academy, and I'm super excited about this. This was a download that I got, and I got it more than once, and since I've decided to take action, I've been getting so much, and it's been like a little overwhelming. And I say a little overwhelming because my soul is ready to rock, like let's go. And I'm just getting all these downloads about it, and I'm just like jotting everything down, and I got it written all over, and then things plugged into my phone, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm super excited, and I cannot wait to share it and for all of you guys to be a part of it. So yeah, I'm saying. All right, so I talked y'all's heads off for enough. Thank you guys, thank you. Each and every one of you who come back and just listen to the podcast and send me messages and all that good stuff. Thank you. And I really do appreciate it. And I'm sending each and every one of you love and light. Until next time. Bye, guys. Thanks for tuning in to #certified. If anything resonated with you, I would love to continue the conversation. You can follow me on Instagram @itistisha. And if you want to be a part of the #certified tribe, you can join my Facebook group by going to the search tab and putting in #certified. My website is conversationswithtisha.com. As always, have a great one on purpose. Love you.